I think it's enough for today. I pushed the two halves together and did some more notching, like I was saying in here. I had to cut out some of the lower piece, let's say, and have this piece sit on top, but I made more room by notching it out there. There's going to be some places where I'm going to have a gap, and I'll have to fill those in. This will be an interesting transition, this hole here, but it's just the way the floor pan is shaped. I'll have to do some reinforcements, probably hammer this around a little bit right here, try to get this gap closer. One other thing I wanted to point out that I didn't show earlier, when I initially took this, set this thing up, I did a measurement. And it's important you do this so that you're square when you're finished. I picked a good location on the, I guess that's the torsion bar or something in there for the swing arm. And I come up here to the shock mount. There we go. And I had a measurement prior to removal. And I wrote it down. It's hard to see. But I put on that piece of tape right there. And I did it on both sides. And then I subtracted 14 3/4 and whatever measurement I was going to remove. And I'm within, about a 1/16 of an inch right now. Somewhere in there. So just a point of reference, you do that on both sides. And that way when you're finished, you're not welding it together crooked. And with that, your end result will keep you from running down the road sideways. I'm sure you've seen cars on the road like that have been repaired poorly. Anyway, I'll keep going. I think I'm done cutting and trimming, at least the main floor assembly. I've done my measuring, I've done some cross measuring, and getting ready to weld it together. Things look pretty good. A little bit of adjustment before I weld it. I can wiggle this around a little bit and square that up. But I'll have to make some custom pieces to fill in these gaps, as I showed earlier. But right now everything's on the money as far as measurements, and I did a cross measurement as well. So I'm going to start welding and try to get it finished up. We've got some of the initial welding done. I think it's looking pretty good. You know, little short welds here. Welded in this overlap. And I'm going to finish welding this edge here. But I burned it in real heavy across this center section. And then once I get all this welded and fit up these little gaps, I'll flip the thing over and weld the bottom same way, real heavy. And that should give it plenty of strength to stay together. Well, this seemed to work out pretty good. I had that big hole right up here, and what I did was I took the section out of the floor piece that I had cut out, and I just cut it and welded it in. Good little transition. And then on the inside area, I did the same thing. There was a hole here, so I cut this piece out of this section of the floor and trimmed it down and welded it in. The only thing left in the corner there, I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I may just make a plate to fill that gap. There's really nothing available to make it look right, but I haven't decided yet. And then over here, I still have a hole where my fingers are, and once I flip this over, I'll make a filler piece to go in there and buzz that shut, and then buzz this gap. And other than patching up a couple holes, of course I got to do the other side yet, but other than that, chassis is pretty much be ready to go in a few hours. Well, I hope this is the only time that I have to see this thing upside down. I rolled it out, flipped it over, got out the hammers, and I knocked down the areas that were a little bit high. This wasn't too bad of a match. Of course you get different stampings, but it'll all blend together with some really hot weld. These were the inner pockets where I had welded in the little patches. they stuck out, and I hammered those in, and I'll weld those solid on both sides there. And then I'll still have to do something with the other pockets. That's where this area was, where I weld those other patches. I may just build a cap for that area there. Haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll just knock that down and weld it flat. Doesn't really matter. So, but I'll try to get all this done and only have to flip it once, and we'll go from there. I'm done welding for tonight. But what I decided to do, instead of having those pockets stick out like I was going to do, I just went ahead and trimmed them off and welded them on the backside. Got the heavy weld across that center section. Got these pockets collapsed in. The only thing left to weld really is these little holes right here, and those are just going to have to be flat patches, but I'll have to clean those out. Get all the undercoating off tomorrow. And here's the other side where I'd made this piece, and that's where I stop for now.